Learn to doodle with perspective in today's Daisy drawing tutorial. And make sure to stick around to the end of the video because I've got a free illustration worksheet for you. Hey friends, welcome back. My name is Shayda Campbell, and as I said, around here we love to draw some flowers. These floral doodles that you see are actually from a recent video. You can check that out on my YouTube channel anytime. Today we're going to focus on a single flower, the daisy, and talk a little bit about perspective, but we're going to keep it simple. Okay, that's actually just I was drawing Sully, trying to make him look like a fireman. Never mind. Okay, so the daisy. Start with a guide. Circle and then a little circle in the center to mark the stamen, the middle of the flower. Then some lines like the spokes on a wheel. There's your basic guide for a daisy, but what if we tilt it and we make it an oval, not a circle, but an oval, and the center is also an oval, placed low. All of a sudden those lines, those petals, they're long at the back and short at the front, and that changes the perspective. We'll do it again. Low stamen, oval shape, short lines at the front, long at the back. Let's do another, but this is just going to be another basically straight on. I'm starting to give a little bit of a curve to my lines, my petal lines. That's going to help with my guide. Then what if we do one, but we place the stamen high? So oval, but the center is high. The front petals are long. The back ones are short. By doing these guides, instead of just trying to jump into drawing the flowers, we really set ourselves up for success. And you also have time to play around, experiment, and get your composition right. Speaking of composition, I need an eraser. Can never find an eraser when I need one. I just had too many stems in there. And then I also, all of a sudden, that first one I drew, it's like, why is the largest flower at the top? I wanted to just make it a bit smaller. Then I had to bring the other one down a bit so they'd be touching. I do like the flowers to kind of overlap a little. All of this perspective stuff, yes, you want to draw more realistic flowers, but for me, it's also about making a great composition and not just having a bunch of flat-looking flowers. Speaking of flowers, we are putting in our petals. So you can keep on going in pencil here. You don't have to switch to pen quite yet. You just follow the guidelines. This one is angled, stamen is low, so the back petals are long, front petals are short. Same here. Long back petals, short little lines at the front means short petals. Then if the stamen is in the center, most of your petals are the same length. If the stamen is high, you've got long front petals and barely there back petals. And you can practice this all in pencil. I did a few messy leaves, and then it is time for me to switch to pen because my illustration, I've done the guide, I've refined the guide. Now I'm taking a 0.9 millimeter fine liner. This is my favorite fine liner. All of the supplies are linked in the description. It's a great way to get the same stuff as me and support the channel. Working in pen, I just go around and trace those petals, and my focus is usually on making sure all the petals don't look the same. So by that I mean mostly focusing on the ends. Some ends will be rounded, others pointed, others kind of squared off. Some are thin, some are thicker. Simple little changes go a long way towards making the flowers look a little more realistic and not too cartoon-like. I also sometimes like to go around and do a secondary layer of petals peeking out from below the first ones, but you don't always have to do that. That's another good way to change up your flowers. With a composition like this, we've got all these different angles, we've got different sizes, different shapes of petals. So some have a double layer of petals, some don't. Just making all those little changes, it's going to make for a really interesting and fun composition. And once you know all these tips and tricks, that's not so difficult and scary as it might seem. I'm also going over the stems, and I do like to do kind of a double line and thicken them up and just make everything look really perfectly imperfect, kind of wiggle the pen a little to get that rough look. My leaves, I start with a line. So you can see the nice curving line, and then we'll talk more about that in a second. What I want to do is get rid of all of my pencil. After a while, it just gets like, well, I can't even see what's going on because there's such a dark sketch there. So let's erase, let's have a sip of tea and take a second. Our composition is looking great. I'm going to keep working with that same fine liner. And now that I can really see what I'm doing, it's a good time to just sketch in the stamen. And I'm really just doing some scribbles and dots. You can get more detailed, of course, and do a whole bunch of little circles or little pinpoints. I'm just making it messy. This is just a quick practice exercise. So some dots will do the trick. And just remember, some of these are going to be an oval shape, whereas others are a circle. And that's all in your guide. And then for the leaves, we've got that center curving line, and then I basically do pairs of leafy shapes all along the line, but it makes for the look of one large kind of scraggly leaf. I think it makes kind of a good daisy leaf. I felt like I needed one more little guy up there, another little flower. I like to have smaller flowers toward the top of the composition. I don't know, I'm just playing around looking for where do I need another leaf or whatever. You can see I kind of am like jumping all around trying to figure things out. I did some kind of sketchy leaves, and I like the way that kind of finished off the composition. Okay, then we're switching to a smaller fine liner, 0.5 millimeter nib, and just doing a couple little lines. This will go a long way to adding some shading and extra detail to your illustration. So just some curving lines at the center of each flower, a couple little ones on the outer edge of the petals. This is giving us a bit of texture, a little more depth, and it's looking really good. I think that's done actually, guys. I should just end the video there. I always say I'm just gonna show how to draw one daisy. Then it's like, no, I'm gonna show how to draw 6 daisies. Then it's like, oh, and I think I'll do it in marker 2, because why not? Because you can use the same formula to work in any medium, and that's really what I wanted to show. And when I'm working with brush pen, I just start usually with the yellow center, and then I go around and do, the short petals and the long petals, or all of them maybe the same length as are some of these. And I have a bit of fun doing the shading first, then I do the detail with that darker bullet point fine liner. And of course, you could still do the pencil guide first. These, I just know the forms so well, and as you work through the doodles and illustrations and use a guide, you will get to know the forms really well as well. And yeah, so I just added this on the end because it's fun. And remember, as I said, there is a free worksheet. The worksheets are usually part of the bonus content that I give every week to my patrons over on Patreon. This week, I wanted to show everyone what my Patreon is really like, and what better way to do that than with a worksheet that is free for all. So head over there, get the Daisy worksheet. It'll help you with all this depth and perspective type stuff. I just had to add a sketchy black line. I just had to do it. If you know me, if you've been around a minute, you know what I'm talking about. Head to patreon.com/Shayda Campbell to get the free worksheet. It's free for everybody, you guys. So you can see what my Patreon is like and what you can expect if you do sign up. It's only $3 a month to join, or $33 for an entire year. Thanks for hanging out today. Hit that subscribe button and then go get your free worksheet.